But for myself, the most important thing in all my career was the pleasure in what I'm doing. Of course, then the motivation of competing and winning was also important, but the first point was always the pleasure that I can have in what I'm doing.
The mountain is not just a challenge to win. It's a home that welcomes us every time we return.
And we are back with even more incredible stories, guests who have written the history of alpine skiing, and new voices that are shaping the future of our sport.
Welcome back to In Caso di Neve, the podcast where the Colmar family comes together to tell not just about the fastest downhills, but also the bravest rises.
Because every champion has a story to tell, and this story goes beyond the stopwatch, beyond the medals, beyond the finish line.
He's Zoran Filicic.
And she is Irene Curtoni.
Lace up your boots tightly.
And follow us. We will still be your guides in Caso di Neve,
A podcast produced by Hypercast in collaboration with Colmar. Welcome to In Caso di Neve. Today's guest started skiing when he was only 2 years old.
And does he compete in all disciplines?
Yes, and is the French skier who has won the most in World Cup history.
So that's easy. Let's welcome Alexis Pinturault. Hello, Alexis.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
And let's go to start with this In Caso di Neve, this podcast with you. First question, if I open your website, there is a large headline, "Not the end at all." Is there a specific moment when you realized that it wasn't over yet?
A specific moment, I can't say it was a date or something really special, but it was a process that I needed to go through. Especially after my second injury, it was kind of difficult. I didn't know exactly what I needed to do, what I needed to go through also, because the injury was not completely fixed also. Because at that moment, when I left Kitzbühel, we were unsure about the meniscus, we were unsure about the surgery, we were unsure about many different things. So that's the reason why then you need to go back to your country, making even more exam, and then when the medical check is complete, you go to the surgeon, you take the different doctors' experience also, and then you decide what is going on and what you can do and what you can't do exactly. And after that, it takes more or less 10 to 15 days to know in details what you will need to do and what you will go through. And during that time, it's also a time that you are taking for yourself mentally, to know where and what you want and what are your wishes. So that was the goal actually, and the main and the most important thing was to know if I was still motivated and if I still wanted to go in that direction. So World Cup circus, making a lot of training for that, making a lot of sacrifices, and also pushing even over the limit, because after 2 years of injury, it's really hard. You're coming back in your level and you need then to step up again to being able to find a way to be competitive, and that's really difficult actually.
And that was not an easy time for you, for sure. First Wengen, then Kitzbühel, and emotionally, how was it? Because Roman and Olympe, they were there in Kitzbühel. Was it difficult to accept it and knowing that they were there?
That was kind of difficult, especially when first we were all thinking that a new surgery will be important, especially for the meniscus. And then with more exam, it appears that a surgery was not so important and not necessary. So that's the reason why then everything was easier. Because when you need to make a surgery, everything is harder. You don't know exactly what will be next, what will be the problem, what will be the situation in some months. Because when somebody is going into your body, it can take a lot of time, and you can have a lot of surprise always. So that's the reason why when that was fixed, it was everything easier than before. But first it was difficult, hard for all those reasons, also because it started to be pretty good from my first injury. And then you need to start again from where you were some months ago. So that's the reason why coming back, being competitive again, and then stepping back again, that's a difficult point, difficult situation, but now I think I went through the most difficult part, and now the easiest part is coming forward.
Yes. We cross your finger for that.
Thank you.
You, before the injury, were determined to compete in downhill and Super G. How difficult was it to accept that you had to scale back these goals?
Pretty easy for me, actually. So the first question was, should I go forward, continue skiing? Then when I answered to this question, the question was, in which discipline should I continue in what I was doing, or should I adapt different things? Coming also with the goals that I have, coming also with my possibilities, coming from the injury status that the FIS is giving to the athletes who has an injury. And regarding everything, it was definitely easier for me to take the decision to compete in just one discipline, because I will not be in the top 30 in Super G. I have no point anymore in downhill. I have no point anymore in slalom. And I'm 28th in the start list of giant slalom. So it means the situation is not dramatically hard, but it's not also an easy one. And regarding the fact that next year is the Olympics, I need to focus everything what I'm doing and everything what I will do on just this discipline to maximize my chances to make some good result.
And also the Olympics are, of course, the main goal of the season for all of you guys. But I think it's automatic for the crowd. And also, in my opinion, trying to, going step by step, but then focusing on one single goal might be, in my opinion, also this Olympic goal that you're chasing for all the career. Is that also in your mind?
Of course, it is in my mind, but everything is kind of more easier. When you're coming back from 2 injuries and you're not in the best athletes anymore, coming from that fact, you focus really on the rebuild of yourself. How to rebuild the body first, but also how to rebuild the possibilities to come back to the podium at the beginning of the season. And then after that, the Olympics will come. But first I have to build many different things for being able to compete for a gold medal or even just a medal at the Olympic Games.
So you're saying that it's easier because that's less pressure and it's a little stairs. So first of all, to come back, then to be called for the Olympics, then to qualify well for the second run, and everything is gold practically. All little gold medals for you. Yeah,
exactly. So it don't mean that it's easier about the way. I think it's way harder to take that way in such a short time. But pressure-wise, it's for sure way easier. That's 100% sure.
Right. And then talking about also the racing, how important is to wear a performing garment in competition?
It's what do you mean exactly by that question?
The super performing garment, so the suit, the underwear, everything.
Everything, when you are racing in such a level, everything is really, really, really important. So it means we are racing in race suits. So our race suits, they are making a big part of the performance. When I'm saying a big part, of course, the rest is even bigger. But when you are speaking about hundreds, a race suit can make some tenths of a second on the downhill, and can make also some tenths of a second in Super G, giant slalom, and also slalom. Even if in slalom it's less important, it's still important. So that's the reason why all the equipment, so not just the race suits and the gloves, because I will go even further if I could make all my equipment. But if you are speaking about the gloves, the helmets, the skis, today we are working a lot on the race suits. We are working a lot on the skis, on the boots also. But I think there is some really strong points that we can improve, especially on the helmet. When you are looking just on bicycle, when you see when they are doing timing races, they have always a helmet we see which is really profile for air penetration. And in alpine skiing, of course, the reglementation is not that easy, but there is always some way to improve many things, and equipment is a part of the performance.
You already told us about your choice to go back with just the giant slalom. Thinking back about your choices to leave slalom to focus on speed events, there's something now that you have changed it, or thinking back, if you could, I mean, you cannot change it now, but was it the right decision to leave the slalom?
It was for me the right decision because it was important for my balance. That was not a question concerning performance anymore, performance about slalom, performance about the overall. It was more something important for myself. So it means finding new goals, finding new motivation, finding some refreshment also, because when you are competing since 12 years in giant slalom and in slalom, you go every year in the same places, more or less. So when you then change the format and you try to go in a direction which is for you different, new, with new motivation, it's refreshing, and it's really fresh air for, it was a really fresh air for myself. Of course, then I get some injuries, and then it's the way of life. But I think the decision was really important for myself, and I was really happy in these 2-3 years of my career.
Thank you.
And now I'm focusing on the GS, on the giant slalom. There's a discipline where we had some periods. It's normal to have periods like the Liget period, the Hirscher period, your period, and now it's Odermatt is ruling this discipline and pushing on another level. So the two questions, how difficult is to give way to someone faster, to someone new, and how is important also for the motivation to have a new goal to reach with these young guys?
I think it depends all different, so all the athletes, because all athletes will have different answers. But for myself, the most important thing in all my career was the pleasure in what I'm doing. Of course, then the motivation of competing and winning was also important, but the first point was always the pleasure that I can have in what I'm doing. And when you are chasing that, everything that you are doing is kind of easier, or you take them lightly or lighter. And I think when you have also some opponent like Odermatt or like Marcel that I had also for many years, it is something really valuable, because you can learn about yourself, you can push your limit, you can push his limit, and you are improving then the whole sport, you are improving yourself, your federation, your teammates, your partner, your opponent, and which is actually really good for our sport. So it will be way easier, or maybe completely without pleasure, if everything would be too easy.
I like this point of view. I really love it.
It's the mature point of
Yeah,
view, for sure.
It is.
I'm wearing pink, so let's back to talking about your daughter, Olympe. I'm on the pink side. I mean, does being a father change your perception of risk on the track? And how much have you changed as an athlete since you've been a father?
So my perception of risk didn't change at all. That was something that I've heard before, or we can hear it from different sports or from different person, etc. In our sport, so alpine ski, we have a lot of father, a lot of mother, more fathers, because for the mother it's way more complicated. But we have many athletes who has kids, and I think it's a part of our history as well, but it doesn't look that it's a big point for us to get kids, and concerning specifically the perception of risk. So it didn't change also for me, but of course, on the other side, it changed for your life. I mean, when you are living, when the training and everything that you are doing, especially when you are an athlete, you put yourself in the middle, and then the family is gravitating around, but it's gravitating around you. And when you get a kid, of course, it needs to gravitate around the kids also. And so you need to find a different way, a different balance in the situation, family situation, and it's not always really easy, and you need sometimes to adapt a few things, specifically concerning training. When you get really tired, especially in the first months, you can adapt your training, you can adapt what you are doing, and then when the session would be too hard, but you know that you get no sleep at all, then you need to adapt it. It's something important as an athlete to consider those problems, because there are problems for an athlete when you are not sleeping. It's a problem actually, but when you take them in consideration and you adapt them in your training, then everything is possible in my opinion.
We know your motto is whatever you choose to do, make sure you have fun. But at certain times, like after the overall win or after the injuries, when it became difficult, did you continue to have fun with the ski?
That's it's coming back to the questions that we had before a little bit, and that's also then going to the direction I needed to take with the downhill and the choice of stopping the slalom discipline. Because if I was continuing in that direction, then I think it was more interesting for me to stop skiing, because I was not having fun, or not enough fun anymore. So when I turned to the speed discipline, it brings this fresh air, and then it was for that reason really important in my career, and especially at that time. When I see back to that period, of course, I get too many injuries, but somehow I found also the balance with what I wanted. And of course, it didn't went like I wished, but it went like I wanted. And now after 2 injuries, concerning the motivation and seeing the possibilities and the fact that I'm feeling at the moment we're speaking really well, because I have no pain anymore, I have no compensation when I'm training, I have no overreaction of my knees, and etc. etc. It makes the situation really convenient to train, to live, and I can have even more fun than what I had in the last 4, 5, or even 10 years actually right now. So now I'm seeing forward and I'm really positive of what is coming next year.
It's really nice because when you talk about skiing, your eyes, they talk for you. I mean, if I ask you if you still love to ski,
the answer is in your eyes, I think.
Yeah, I think I know already the answer because I can see that.
Then it's good.
Yeah.
Then it's good.
And it's not easy after, I mean, what you won, because you won a lot. And after the last couple of years that were not so easy.
Actually, about the victories, it's interesting because we know that Colmar did a capsule collection with one jacket for every victory. Which one of them is your favorite as a jacket? Representing the victory that maybe you felt the most?
I think one victory is the most special one, is the victory I get in Lenzerheide.
Okay.
Because of that victory, I won the overall globe and I won the GS globe. Of course, in this season I won many, but it's that one which was crucial, and at that time makes this one really special. Of course, all the others, they are really important as well, and they can be really specific also, especially the ones in France. But still, when I need to pick one, I would say that one.
And now I'm jumping because you're talking about victories and you're talking about pleasure. In my opinion, I'm a soul rider in everything that I'm doing. And we saw also in the last 2 Olympic Games, a lot of guys were talking about this 4th place, being so proud about a 5th place or entering in the finals for instance in the Summer Olympics. But then I remind a phrase, a sentence that your father used to say to you: you have to win to earn respect. And what's your opinion on this, between the chasing of victory, the pleasure of doing, the way to succeed, and the respect to be earned?
Well, that's a really hard question. I think the pleasure is the main key to bring you always further. Without pleasure, I will not be able to push my limits even further. I will not be able to train even harder. I will not be able to fight so hard with my equipment, so development, physically, technically, mentally. So that's the motivation and the pleasure who is bringing such a motivation. And then it's the why. Why we have such a pleasure, why you are doing such a things when you can just go for skiing on your own and not being a competitive athlete. And if you are a competitive athlete, the why is the competition.
Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you.
And thank you, Irene.
Thank you, Zoran. Merci beaucoup, Alexis.
And thank you all of you. Remember just to leave your comments below and to share our podcast with all your friends. And see you on the next episode of
In Caso di Neve.
In Caso di Neve is a Colmar podcast produced by Hypercast.
Creative Director Raffaele Costantino.
Author Simone Damiani.
Editorial Supervision Morgan Salvaggio.
Audio recording Giulia Macciocca.
Editing, Post-Production and Music Maurizio Bilancioni.
Project Manager Giulia Macciocca.